the bit of news is Frank Reich says he is going to resume offensive play calling duties. Now, if you have not been following the roller coaster that's been all log flumes this year for the Carolina Panthers, just big drops down. Here's what here's how we got here. Frank Reich was the play caller for the beginning of the season, and the offense was not producing. So he passed off the play calling to his offensive coordinator, Thomas Brown, who had never done so in the NFL. He had never been a play caller. Thomas Brown called plays for 2 games, and the offense was ineffective, just as it was 3 games?
I think it was actually 3.
3 games.
I forgot because they had the 2 games in the 1 week because of the Thursday.
3 games. Whatever. Less than a month, Thomas Brown was the offensive play caller. And now they're going back to Frank Reich. This is an issue for a bunch of reasons. One, I understand the metaphorical right to kill a hostage, right? And the need to kill a hostage. What I mean by that is firing someone, cutting someone, just so everybody knows, hey, you better perform your best or your job's at risk, right? That's the metaphorical need to do that. However, if you pull something like this, where you promote a guy, empower a guy, give a guy an opportunity, don't give him the time to work into it, and then take that opportunity away, everybody else isn't going to play like with urgency. They're going to play, or they're going to act, or they're going to coach with fear, with hesitation. Thomas Brown did not have enough of an opportunity to develop into his role. Now, you may say, well, he got 3 weeks, he got 3 games, whatever it is. Fine. That's not enough. Not for somebody thrown into that world in the middle of the season with a rookie quarterback in a situation where a guy with an experienced play-calling resume like Frank Reich couldn't do it. All of the challenges Frank Reich was facing, so was Thomas Brown. Secondly, obviously the most important part of play calling is the plays, right? The most important part of play calling is the scheme. Can the plays designed that you have at your disposal take advantage of the abilities of the players? But that's a collaborative process, right? All of the position coaches, the coordinator, the head coach, everybody is involved in the scheme. Outside of scheme, the secret sauce that makes up the best play callers are decisiveness and self-confidence, right? You have to know quickly, right? Because there's a play clock going down, and the headset's going to turn off with 15 seconds left on the play clock, and you don't always have all the time in the world. You have to have all the self-confidence in the world that you know the perfect play, and you have to have the ability to pull the trigger and get that play into your quarterback fast. And you have to have the self-confidence to know, if I call this run in 2 quarters from now, I'm going to be able to call the counter off of that run and it's going to hit. And you have to have the self-confidence to know, I'm smarter. I'm going to win the chess match against the opposing team's defensive coordinator. Because for everything I say about quarterbacks, you can't hesitate, right? You can't take your hand off the ball because you're ready to throw and then go, put your hand back on. That beat. That 1 little half-second interception. Well, how about this one? If the play caller goes, all right, I need 21 personnel on the field, 21 person. No, actually 22. That right there is a play clock violation. All right, give me right, Rob, hop. No. Left, Lou. We need left, Lou. That right there didn't leave your quarterback enough opportunity to see the defense pre-snap and come up with a plan. Because he was too busy being traffic cop, screaming to the wide receiver, no, I need you on the other side. Well, let me ask this about Frank Reich. Going from yourself as the play caller to someone else as the play caller, back to yourself as play caller within a month, does that show any decisiveness or self-confidence in your decision-making? Or does it show the exact opposite? No decisiveness, lack of self-confidence, wavering, waffling on your decision-making. And now you're back out there and everybody else is supposed to have confidence in the plays you have sending in. I hate it. And thirdly, and we talked about this yesterday, I feel for Bryce Young. In a way, not like, oh, his life stinks, because his life's probably pretty awesome. Right? $37 million, almost $38 million, fully guaranteed, Heisman Trophy. At the very least, he could go open Bryce's Steakhouse in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, and print money for the rest of his life. So I don't feel bad for him like, oh, we should get a GoFundMe started. I feel bad for him like I'm starting to wonder if he's ever going to be able to reach his potential because the Panthers are messing with him. Maybe his potential isn't what we thought it was. Maybe his ceiling isn't as high as a number 1 overall pick should be. He deserves his fair share of reevaluations. But I hate the idea of changing the voice in his head this many times. I hate the idea of him getting used to what Frank Reich likes to do on third downs, only to pull the rug out from under him and say, now learn what Thomas Brown likes to do on third downs, only to pull the rug out from under him and say, no, go back to what you were learning when Frank Reich was the play caller. And oh, by the way, this will be a more collaborative process with Thomas Brown. At this point, I want Josh McCown calling plays. Heck, I want Andy Dalton and Josh McCown calling plays. It's baffling to me. Baffling how you don't have like, this is the NFL. This is billion-dollar business. You're getting paid millions of dollars. This is this is not a rinky-dink mom-and-pop organization here. This is a billion-dollar business. How did you not come into the season with, this is plan A, we are pretty darn steadfast in our support of plan A, and we're going to see it through even if things go off the rails. However, if things go so off the rails that we have to change, here's plan B. And it'd take the earth-shattering, groundbreaking revelations for us to come off of plan B, but we'd go to plan C. Right? That whole thing should be drawn out in the offseason. Your plan for developing your rookie quarterback shouldn't be wishy-washy. It shouldn't be like, well, we'll figure it out. We'll try this. If it doesn't work, 2 weeks later, we'll go back. It's A, and I mean, it's got to be something horrendous. And you may say the first part of the season was something horrendous. That's fine. You go to plan B, you got to give plan B a chance. If plan A was Frank Reich's going to call the plays that helped Bryce Young progress, and you weren't seeing the progression, and you thought that was earth-shattering enough to throw plan A in the trash, you go to plan B. That's Thomas Brown. There's no path back to A. You shouldn't have made that move if you were still like, hey, A might be the way to go. Then you give it, it's so reactionary. It's so lack of directionary, and I made that word up. It's so rudderless. Does anyone know what is best for Bryce Young? Because that's what this whole season is about. How many times have I said, from the moment you draft a top quarterback, this is true for this situation because Bryce Young was picked number 1 overall. Even more so, he was picked with 2 separate top draft picks, plus DJ Moore, plus 2 second-round picks. As soon as you make that pick, but this is true for every top quarterback, the entire franchise becomes what's best for that player. How do we best develop that quarterback? Does anybody know? You brought in Frank Reich for that purpose, right? You brought in a longtime quarterback in the NFL, longtime offensive assistant coach in the NFL, longtime head coach. Yeah, you brought him in to know what to do with Bryce Young. Does he? You brought in David Caldwell to be your offensive senior and senior assistant. Does he know? Tell me, who knows? Who has a good idea? Who is the point person on this project? And tell me they're not being listened to, because I know they aren't. Have some conviction in your beliefs. Be darned what the outside says. Have some conviction in what you think is best for the player and see it through. Because I know, and if you've been around football, which they have, you know. It's not good to have a billion different situations. To have a quarterback with different head coaches and different offensive coordinators and different play callers early in his career, that very rarely, if ever, works out. Stability is important. How is a player supposed to know an offense like the back of their hand if it keeps changing, even subtly, right? And it changes subtly every time a new guy gets to call the plays. Goodness gracious.